Yeah.
Welcome to BTFDtv. We have, oh hell, I don't even know what we're going to call this episode. Hey, Jared.
Hey.
You got lightning behind you.
I know it's raining.
Lightning Show. Folks, welcome to the Lightning Show with Jared. So how
And
far
this
away is
is my
that
internet
shit?
even shittier than it is.
Is it booming?
It's right on top of me.
Right on top? Ooh.
Yeah.
Right on.
That's what she said.
All right.
She's right on top of me. I love Cliff's new mic. It doesn't sound like crap anymore.
I know, there's actually someone there now.
Yeah. Shockingly.
All right, so
I want to congratulate on his Cracker Jack seed monitoring system.
What? What?
Thunderstorms and internet don't work.
Yeah, no, that doesn't appear to be the case. It appears that your place is getting blasted with lightning.
Yeah, no, I wanted to congratulate you on your Cracker Jack seed monitoring system.
Oh, come on, it's not there yet. Give it a little while.
Shit.
Hey, developing technology never happens overnight.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, Bill Gates.
I can say, though, that there's 5 units in the film.
Yeah, no, I want to go find the one that's near me and sabotage it by
Far away from you.
making it wet around the probes.
Hey, people want to know, Jared, when did you move to Kauai?
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. So broadcasting live from Hawaii.
Yep.
All right. So is the power going to go out? Do you have generators there?
No, the power won't go out. But yeah, well, we do have generators, but not one big enough to run the house yet.
So you have
purchase.
So hey, I've noticed you rolled out a couple of new toys. How many fucking new toys have you bought?
A bunch.
I was saying, like, every time I turn around, Jared's got a new toy over there.
Yeah, I am a 179 convert. How about that?
Must be all those, I don't know, horrible Team 200 feeders. I mean,
it couldn't be all the Team 200 feeders. Hey, I want to dump a big bucket of face all over those fuckers that said it wouldn't happen.
Exactly. And now we're going to say when the index is going to print it.
Hey, they're going to be like, it's 199. That doesn't count anymore. It's not for real. Yeah, fuck all those people that didn't believe it.
Yeah.
So what have you purchased? So we've got the new sprayer. Are you going to get rid of the Rogator? Or are you just going to park it at a farther place so that it's just easier to use it at one location, for example?
Right now, with all this rain, I'm probably going to, just like you said, I'm going to put it on one end of the farm and the other sprayer on the other and just use both of them. But then I'll put it on a farm auction and make a big deal about it on Twitter and see if I can get somebody to buy it for more than they can get a trade.
All right.
I'm gonna have a special one-off. You can buy the Rogator and be the man type sale.
You can buy
the super sprayer.
Yeah, you can
get the super sprayer.
The Rogator was on Twitter long before most of these jackholes were.
All right, so you got one of those new ones. There appeared to be some kind of new drill. Is that right?
Yeah, a bigger planter because of the rain. We got this crazy, phenomenal amount of moisture, and I've got to plant a bunch of milo in a short amount of time.
All right. So how many are you going from? 8 to 12 or 12 to 6?
Yeah, 8 row to a 12 row. I'm still like, that's like a baby car compared to most guys are planting like 24, 36.
Yes, and I'm giving you respect for being an adult here. I'm actually surprised you're not at least But then I figured maybe your fields just aren't designed where you could use it that wide.
No, I could totally go with a big one, but the bigger they are, the more shit you have to fix, and
Also,
I mean,
horsepower to pull it.
yeah, no, I mean it's just not practical. Realistically, I just need 12. I don't need a giant one. It'd be
Why not
cool, but
16?
it won't make me any more money. It'll just be more debt. Buy what you have to, not what you want to.
Right. But don't you save diesel costs if you only have to make one pass versus 2 or 3?
Yeah, but you're talking like a gallon an acre over a couple. I mean, you're talking about everybody loves to talk about how much diesel you save, but it's not like that's your main input. That's a fraction that's
All
a
right.
fraction of the total cost. Anyway, so I don't care if it costs more diesel.
You ought to write up an article and kind of like an oil barrel show the cost of like doing a bushel of corn.
Oh, that's what those dumb shit magazines are for.
Yeah, but I figured you could actually do a real version.
I know, but I can't make the cool graphics like they do. I could draw.
Well, no, but you can draw really crappy ones, and those are funnier.
Oh, I know. That's just like every time I draw on a chart. It's better because it's just little shitty stickmen.
And that's what I'm saying. Do really shitty stickmen, but give us a show.
So I'm going to be like the Calvin and Hobbes of the commodity world. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, kind of. Hold on. We got some crap going on at this end. Sorry about that. I suck.
So the actual BTFD network hasn't exploded now that we've actually came on and made it better?
No, and I just want to thank you for joining the reclaiming of our territory. It's good to be back here at being snarky again.
Hey,
so
let's
Clifford,
go. Me and Cliff need to go piss on the tires real quick.
Yes, I was actually going to say, we need to like pee in some corners and piss some people off. It's June 8th. It's my birthday. So hey,
happy birthday!
My farmer's back.
So how old are you now? 38, 39?
This is my 20th birthday of 27.
I'm really bad at math, so you go ahead.
That'd be 47 for you slow farmer types.
Well, shit, I had you calculated at 57, but...
No, thank you. I'm gray and I'm balding, but I'm not white and bald. There's a difference.
Yeah. Jack, you look like you lost some weight. Have you been out working in your garden or some stuff?
I have actually started exercising again, so maybe, hopefully, it'll stick this time. I've been going out every day, most days.
Cool.
I'm so far above 200. I'm not worried about dropping below the $2 chuck line right now.
Hey, but you know what happens whenever you drop below the 200-pound line? It's people stop moving out of your way. You become that guy in the grocery line that they make you walk around them, and then screw that. I'd rather be a big fat guy that they move for than to be the little guy that they make you move around. There's a difference, believe me.
All right. So, have you bought a new tractor?
Last spring, or this spring, yeah.
Spring. All right.
Yep.
So what did you get there?
It's an 8530. It's a new to me. It's 5,000 hours on it, which most people wouldn't even touch. But there's got to be value. There's got to be a value to something. There's no point in buying it.
All right.
See, I would make a hell of a hedge fund manager.
Now,
I can understand value and things like that.
Sure. Does that come out of the West with that many hours, or is that semi-local?
Came from Dalhart, where the there's a lot of dairies around Dalhart, and those guys, they're those people that push 1,500, 2,000 hours on a tractor a year, big operators. So it's 3 years old with 5,000 hours. But
wow, that thing's been flogged at one level. How much of that is idle though?
A lot.
Depends. Yeah. If it's on a grain cart, a bunch. But it's like, I'm sure cars in a town have more engine hours on them, but not very many miles.
Mm-hmm.
So same principle, but a town, a pickup
No,
from the country.
I drive. I flog my shit.
You still got the OJ Bronco?
Yeah, I still got the OJ Bronco. 300,000 miles on that bad boy, and she rolls.
Hell yeah.
Dude, this is no joke. Twice lately. Twice in like the last 3 months, I'll have my wife come on air, and one of them happened to her. We're at gas stations, and African gentlemen seem to really, really appreciate it. and they'll like be pumping gas and walk away from their car and just like walk around the Bronco, kind of just admiring it. And this has happened multiple times lately. And then they'll go to their wife. My wife is listening, and he's like, "Honey, it's beautiful. It's like in great shape." Blah 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 blah. It's every culture has their own vehicle, right?
Yeah.
And I guess it's still very fashionable.
You should like put it on Craigslist and say not the OJ Bronco,
Well,
but just like it.
It's actually in better shape. That one was like a bare white bones rental version, and mine's got at least like tacky plastic striping on the side and shit.
Yeah. So does anybody know why that it turned into rainforest where I live after 4 years of drought?
Yes. This is completely El Nino driven, and it's moved in a cycle. The wet zone has, and it's hitting you now. Supposedly, it'll hit us in a couple of months as it transitions across.
That's awesome.
How else are you supposed to get back to average? I mean,
yeah,
no rain or 20 inches of rain in averages out to 10 inches of rain. Oh yeah. Gotta love the averages. I mean,
all right, look, when I lived on the Oregon coast, guys, when I lived on the
Yep.
Oregon coast, it rained. I was there 2 years. It rained 120, 110 inches each year I was there, right? Everyone was telling me about how there's like these months where it's just dry, and it's every day it's 72 degrees and foggy. And I'm like, no, it rained every fucking day, right?
Yep.
And they're like, well, Jack, you got to understand, we either have what we call drought, 20 inches of rain a year, or we have 120 inches a year, and 2 of these years will cover the rest of a decade, so now we average our 38 inches a year, right? Because my 2 years was enough to cover probably the next 7 years on an average basis for them. But like right now, they're probably getting their 20, 30 inches of rain.
Yeah. Well, I saw a chart from like 1907, or basically the last 100 years, and like the most rainfall this year it gets is like 40 to 41 inches, like an extreme, and the lowest is like 6 to 8, 9 inches. So you're
we had 3
a
last
lot of years you're 25 or 18, but I think our average is like 20 something. But you're right, it comes from 40s and 8s to get to your 20s. So you either have a bunch of it or you don't have shit. And the thing is, this year we didn't have shit up until everything was dead. Now we started getting rain. Just like Cliff said, the wet, dead wheat.
By the way, they're talking up to 9 months of wet for you.
I know. That's why I'm being so psycho about buying stuff to plant this much Milo and all that.
Well, how are you
I'm
going
to play the cards.
If it doesn't stop raining?
I'm going to do like the guys in the Midwest. I'm going to drive shit right into the mud hole and then go get a tow rope.
All right, so my question, do you already have your own excavator and lowboy to deliver it?
No. I just, but I do want
to go out and buy one, my friend. In the next 9 months, an excavator will save your ass, and you can pay for it digging your buddies out.
No, because here we're smart enough to not drive into that shit.
No, you say that now. 9 months of this shit, you're just going to be buried up to your wheels.
No.
You don't even know what rain's like, my friend. Wait till you find hubcap deep mud.
I've had a pickup stuck before. Occasionally you have to
in
go
Oregon when visiting the cousins.
Yeah.
Oh, I've had more than a pickup stuck before. I mean, yeah, hold on. We'll let her eat. We can get through that. Oh, we got through that. Oh, we didn't get through that one.
No, we didn't get through that one. We just found a deeper hole to sink into.
Oh, yeah, my premise has always been more speed. More speed will get you through it. Okay,
That's very true.
So you hit the pond at about 30, and you're
No,
about
you just
three
skipped
quarters
across
of the way, through, and then you start grabbing gears. Nope, that one didn't work. You yanked me
All
out
right,
of
look, you got a
here.
snowmobile. It works on mud, snow, water, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Snowmobile works on mud, doesn't it?
No.
No?
Nope.
Nope, nope.
Lawnmowers do. That guy who used to
Lawnmowers
be on
work on mud?
Yeah, that guy who used to be on Twitter, that Hardy Farms, he was telling me one time they used to get old shitty lawnmowers and they'd race them around mud tracks. They would purposely go to like auctions and buy shitty mowers just so they could run them through the mud.
Oh yeah, we had a Friday night ritual that was, well, you have had to
Guys,
have
while
tried
we're talking,
during the week,
guys, we got a
and it
political
must
event.
be two-wheel drive.
Hey,
And,
we've got a political event to discuss.
and we're going around this circle track. Oh, if you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing. Holy hell!
Cliff,
Yeah.
What happened?
we've got a political event that's happened. The mayor of Oakland was chatting on her phone, which is illegal in the state of California, while driving through a red light, which is illegal in the state of California.
And 49 other states last time I checked.
And ran into someone. Details to follow, but witnesses are all reporting the mayor was like this.
I say it's not a big deal.
No, I think the mayor should get arrested.
I think the mayor of Toronto should come down. And
that guy's a natural American. How come we? Can we send back
Chris
Bieber?
Farley lives. I mean, who knew Chris Farley lives?
Doesn't he actually live in Detroit and he just works in Toronto?
Maybe.
I think him and Farmer Sims are cousins. Because those are like the two Canadians that I
where
think
the hell
are
is Sims? Can you get him invited in here?
I'm on an iPad.
All
Good luck.
I got it. You know what though? He may not answer me. He hasn't responded to my jokes in a while.
Send me the link. I'll send it to him.
I'll send him one, and then maybe yours will help bring him over the line.
Yeah, I don't know. He still might be on Harvest 13 though. So
No, it's those jokes that might be why he doesn't come on air with us. All right. So I've sent him a link. It's the link at the top of the room, Cliff.
Okay.
All right. So how do you plant Milo in mud?
I don't know. I've never had to worry about it being too wet to plant. I got the money. I got the people backing me. Some bank.
All right. So
free
have you ever
advertisement.
had mud in your career?
Yeah, but it's always dried out. I've never had anything that I couldn't plant because it was too wet, ever. And I don't think that's going to be the case this year.
All right.
You don't realize when it dries out, I've got 20% humidity and 95-degree weather. About 3 days of that, and you're planting. So.
All right. All right. So how many acres are you going to plant?
I don't know. Maybe 1,000 acres of dry land, 400 or 500 of irrigated.
Okay.
And that's not that much, but when you're doing it with an 8 and a 12-row planter, it is. Maybe that's why those guys buy big shit.
I'm coming back to that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they're bored.
That's really. I think you just like making laps.
No.
You go around the corner. Kind of like your own personal NASCAR.
Yeah, but I win every time.
You're the only one out there.
It's like Days of Thunder, but with
Days of
4.5
4.6
miles
miles
an
per
hour.
hour. Hey, so have you tried any of that John Deere 10 mile an hour stuff?
No, it's bullshit. All that you're gonna do is make your stuff that you're planting bounce up and down, and so your depths and emergence are gonna suck. It doesn't matter if your spacing's good if your seed's all fucked up. That's just shit they came up with so they can sell the idiots new planters. If you need to plant at 10 miles an hour, you'd be better off to just buy 2 big planters than to have one going super fast.
All right.
Physics don't allow, and I don't care how much you correct for it. Physics of like you hit a rock at 10 miles an hour, your shit's gonna bounce up and down.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Hey, my hat's off to those guys in their marketing stuff. They successfully get people to spend a shitload of money. You know,
yeah.
I've said more shit about them than I could probably ever take back,
The
but I will give them credit.
The silliest thing I saw was 2 John Deeres with basically what I think of as the Caterpillar tracks, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're hooked up like training engines.
Yeah, that's like in South America and like where they have to farm like 10 square miles.
And this guy had 4 wide, so it was a quad with dual. It was just this giant thing, and I was just like, really? What? How do you turn around? How the hell do you turn around?
We don't turn around in those parts. I'm going to take it. I mean, that's.
They just assemble it and reassemble it on the other path, and away you go again.
Yeah, no, they're probably farming a deal like in Western Canada or some huge field, you know, that's probably 3,000 or 4,000 acres.
Yeah,
to do that.
Exactly. I mean, you're getting out into the outback where it's like, yep, we're going 4 hours this way, 4 hours back this way. What's possibly the biggest thing that we can drag through here and plant something with?
All right.
It's out of where the hoot owls fuck the kangaroos. I mean, you're talking in the middle of nowhere.
I mean, yeah, you don't pass the chickens and do not pass go. That's like, holy hell. Chickens? Hell. Who else fucked them a long time ago? It's, we got deadly snakes. There might be a crocodile in this pond over here. I honestly can't see where the end of this field ends, and
we'll drive that way.
Yeah.
All right.
There's places
so,
like in eastern Colorado.
Since rustlers are on air, what's this Team 200 crap, and why is it so important?
Because
talk to a person who doesn't understand what Team 200 means. And why is 200 such a big number for cattle?
$200 per hundredweight.
Okay, how much is 100 weight? What is 100 weight?
100 pounds. So for every 200 pounds of that animal, for every 100 pounds of that animal, you get $200. Correct?
Yep.
So you're saying the animal's $2 a pound?
Yep.
If it weighs 800 pounds, you'll get $1,600 if you get $2.
So why do you stay all fancy and not just say that the thing's $2 a pound on the hoof?
Because if we did, the laymen of the world would try to get in and be cattlemen, and they'd fuck it all up.
All right, so you got to use a whole bunch of like really stupid terms to say it's $2 a pound on the hoof.
Yeah, we're kind of like guys who trade equity stuff. They make up real fancy shit like BPS and all this stuff just to try to confuse everybody.
All right. So this 100 weight that you're talking about. All right. So this $2 a pound stuff. What did it run $5 a year 5 years ago?
$1.
Yeah.
All right, so we're up 100.
Might have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say. I mean, I don't know. 5 years ago, it jumped above $1, but then it's back under. I don't know, Cliff. You remember?
Yeah. If I dug out the data on my computer, which I'm not too
don't worry about
thrilled about maybe doing that, but yeah, I mean it was
don't.
It was roughly around the buck you know, plus or minus 10 from a buck, 5 years ago.
Okay.
Well, when the whole team 200 feeders got going, we were at like a buck 35 or
Yep.
buck 45 on the
Buck,
board.
yeah, I was gonna say a buck 35, buck 40, and basically, Jack, imagine that the S&P when it was at a dollar or 1,000, and then it went to 1,300, and somebody said, "Hey, S&P's going to 2,000," and everybody had been like, "You're full of shit," but we were the same scenario. We called it. It went there. And I remember you said that it's going to 207 because it never stops at the destination. So I'm still holding you to the 207.
I'm still. Hey, I've been waiting for it to happen. So are we agreeing it's happened now?
It's at 201 as of Friday.
Well,
Not in Nebraska. I mean, 201 will buy you a jockey strap and a three-legged steer.
Okay. On that note, let me get some. I'm just gonna mute. I'll be right back. I'm reloading my birthday wine. Fuck you guys.
Yeah. The sales in the north were stout, to say the least. I mean, 200 doesn't have 3 hooves and a tail. I'll take it.
Yep. No, there's a bunch of 6-weights that were banging 200. And they were like calves, not weaned, just 600 pounds. Here's $1,200. Like you said, they could have been just pissed dog shit. Who knows? But I mean, I don't know. I don't know where it's going to stop. But I know that if you've got calves right now, it's awful good money just to take it and not even mess with feeding them.
Yeah. Now, if you have calves right now, I wouldn't look at retaining ownership or anything. I mean, let them go. I mean, the money's too good. What, you're going to try and pick up another
$150 a head at the most?
Yep. Exactly. I mean,
and it would take a minor market correction to just wipe that 150, and you'd be right back exactly where you were right now.
Exactly. I mean, that's one where this is very nice. I'm putting the check in the bank, and I'm taking the old lady out for a nice steak dinner.
And not fucking with wheat pasture cattle and all that. And the scary part is that we haven't even went through heifer retention.
No.
I mean, people still haven't figured that out. They still think, oh yeah, everybody's like making magic cows. They haven't.
No.
We killed all the cows.
Yeah, no, and that's the real scary thing is...
We're not even done.
I mean, you guys are holding back heifers, but...
Yeah. I've done it. Guys that have cows have kept what they had to.
Yep.
But I haven't built a herd.
Yeah.
And I've got a position to do it. I mean, guys that are in position to do it have been in a drought. And we're getting rain, but we're not... No one has said I'm loading the boat with cows.
No.
And you've pointed out several times, whenever you see cows in Iowa, then we can talk.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
hey, we don't have that problem. We're gonna do high rises, and we're gonna put the cows on each floor.
Yeah, so that they can piss down on the ones below them.
Oh, and no, it's gravity collection for the fertilizer that we send to farmers like you.
Yeah, because I'm going to waste my time with your bullshit city cow fertilizer.
Now, until you see massive herd rebuilding in East Kansas, West Missouri, and Southwest Iowa, you won't see the herd expand. I mean, that was to a certain part, central Texas.
The structure's still there to rebuild into, though.
The structure's there, but you have to make it. You have to convince people to not plant corn.
Hey, we got a cowboy joining us.
What's up there, Jackson?
Oh man, and he leaves.
But yeah,
hey guys, I didn't think I could run him off that quick. I mean, I've offended people, but that's got to be a world record.
Well, it happens when you're an old man. You always say stuff you don't mean. It just kind of comes out.
I'm noticing that the older I get, the more willing I'm just to say whatever the hell's on my mind. Not really.
You know that I love talking to old people. They don't give a shit. They're like, I'm just gonna say
It's like, why the hell should I hold back, man? I mean, I can crowd out right now.
That's how everybody should be. People should learn that lesson when they're 20, and it would save a lot of time.
There's some serious agreement there.
Yeah.
All right, so Cliff, what's the trade in cattle?
Hope you've been long because they're not a great one right now. I mean, so we'll call it a 145, 147 cash market. Where's the board trading? Oh, guess what? All the options and all the retail people are forced out. Where's it going?
Okay.
It's we got a busted ass contract, and I'll take the free money.
Are you talking contracts are busting right now, or they will?
Oh, the live cattle futures contract is a broken contract.
It's broken?
Yeah, I mean, hold on. Let's sit here and bang the crap out of the thing. I mean, you've been trading like a 2 standard deviation basis for 6 months.
Can you hold for delivery?
Oh yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. Once all the options and the retail guys are out of the way, what are we going to do? We're going to
147.
Probably not that high. I mean, board probably goes 141, 143 area.
Okay.
So in cash cattle stay steady to plus minus 2. I mean, there's nothing that's really looking good in the country. I mean, you'll see when the formula kills hit that they're, either have been hit real hard by the winter, but at about this time you're starting to lose the winter factor, and they're just getting drugged forward.
The play in cattle right now is possession. You want to be the guy that's delivering animals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The people who are playing the margin game are playing like the stalkers are super expensive. The feeders are super expensive. Everybody's betting forward, and the money right now is on basically owning cows.
Yep. Yeah.
That's what I see.
All right. So how about if we go to like a guy who I think one time used to be in charge of like a cattle district, or I don't know, at least a bullshit district. Larry.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on cattle? Where's the price going?
I don't see anything stopping it for a while. I mean, there's no even something political is my only fear. Something stupid that would have nothing to do with the fundamentals, a trade barrier or something. But even that, with what we got supply and what's going on demand wise, we're good for a while. I mean, I'm pretty confident.
All right.
Well, Jack, let me ask you this: at what point does the beef become too expensive for you to buy?
That's a really good question. It's starting to become annoying.
It's annoying, but it's not like pork's expensive. Nobody wants to eat chicken because chicken sucks. I mean,
and those are really good kind of points. I'm kind of reaching the stage where I'm just going to go buy a cow and put it in the deep freeze, I think.
Hey, I've got some fat cattle coming out in 60 days. If you want to buy one, let me know.
Well,
coming out of a feedlot, a real actually home raised steer
How
I
about
just gotta
this?
go.
I send you $300 to $500 worth of ag data technology, and you send me some meat.
How about I send you what comes out the back of the cow?
No, that isn't what I said.
Okay, well you had a chance.
You know I think Jared makes a good point. That's part of driving this deal. I was worried about what we'd get price difference. You know, pork could get so cheap in relation that people would,
But
jump.
then they
But
all
the
die.
pork deal with this PEV virus and everything going on, I mean,
There's no cheap protein.
no.
Yep.
So
Nor should there be. It costs a lot to produce, and it's finally we are getting paid our fair share.
Oh yeah.
That's
Fuck you,
my
dude. Just
no.
fuck you, dude.
This is what happens when you can't form unions. Eventually, everything breaks down to the point where you have to pay people to repair it. Beef has been way too cheap for too many decades. Now it's going to get too expensive for a decade until things even out and becomes
Until Australia
sustainable.
sends us a couple of million head of cattle to replace ours.
You know how much you're going to have to pay somebody to quit their job in the city to come ranch? That's your answer.
I think there's potential danger of supply, but I don't see Australia being the place. I mean, they're a step behind us. They've got some widespread drought. They've got environmental and legal issues that have held things up. I mean, that's really right here in
totally raining on my get even with Jared quickly line.
Yeah, but here's the deal. Australia's like a whole ocean away from here. Shit goes bad on a boat.
Yeah, it does. There's some really bad stories about some bad boats out there.
Well, and they're going to have, I mean, as long as they can keep up their live export deal to those Indonesia and stuff,
yeah,
they're gonna take that money in those growing economies that are close by. So
yeah, well, why screw with giving it to America for a loss probably?
All right. So, are you guys ever going to rebuild your herds?
Like I said, you figure out how much it takes to drag someone who was born on a ranch but works in a city and makes a good salary.
But they don't have access
that guy to picking up again.
to jumpstart your operation.
No, but a lot of those guys have access to land. Those guys that work in towns have access to land.
All right.
You've got to pay them enough to take the risk to go back and be ranchers.
Metaphorically
speaking.
Yeah, in this part of the country, and I've said it for a while now, the expansion is going to be subdued to some level for a lot of I mean, summer grass alone. I mean, it's sky high around here, and it's hard to come by. And even though you got some older guys out there with some numbers, they're not. None of those are going to sell out completely. That's going to go down in a family deal or a corporation type deal, and there's just not. We'll see some expansion, and all spring long I kept saying I needed to have a few more than I got. I got grass.
I remember
every day I go out and look at my grass and be
your herd.
What's that?
We were talking this spring about you adding.
Yeah, and I really didn't. I mean, I did a little tick here and a little tick there, but I mean, every day I go out and I look at my grass and I'm like, the grass is good, and I'm sitting there going, but you know what? That grass is good, but a lot of that grass can kind of almost be banked, and I can leave cows on grass longer in the fall then. As good as optimistic as I am, I wasn't going to go out and buy $2,700 pairs that somebody sorted 10 off of their operation for one reason or another that had a problem and
yeah.
do that.
Yeah, the only cattle available are somebody else's rejects right now. That's a great point.
That's actually the point I was kind of wondering about. Where is a clean source of pairs that you would want to?
Well, guys like myself, people that own cows are going to have to retain heifers, which means a tighter supply on the on-feed numbers, because you're going to have to basically raise the replacements, or they're on the ground right now as baby calves. Now, when you start, and then
I mean, you can
young spring chicken,
but you guys need to keep every female around for
And then where you've got to also pay is to go out there and take the risk of calving those. You know, like doing the old school, like, you know, the older guys, they can't go out and calve 150, 200 heifers. You know, not realistically. I mean, they could, but they're just you know, that's a young man's game. There's not a lot of young guys who are set up to go calve a bunch of heifers. I mean, I don't see it.
We saw that around here this winter, guys that had saved some heifers, and I had a few, and I was lucky because I've been saving some heifers for the past few years. But you know, we hit some weather right at the front end of the typical calving season here, and guys lost calves and heifers. I mean, their percentage wasn't real good. I mean,
I was going to ask, what percentage of heifers get in trouble during birthing?
That varies by operation and probably the bulls you use and the history of your cow herd. But I mean, I'd say on an average ranch, you probably have to assist 25%.
Yeah, it's literally 16 and pregnant is what you're dealing with.
Yes, perfect.
And multiply that by how many you want to have at one time. You know, I mean,
what was the term?
16 and pregnant.
16 and pregnant. It's literally 16.
Yeah, they're just getting
related to the human. Yeah.
Right. So dumb heifers.
Well,
but you couldn't push them out.
That's the thing. It's not just the. Yeah.
Right.
It's not just the calving. I mean, I only lost 2 calves to heifers this year, and one was my own fault. I wasn't here. She got it out, but she was exhausted enough she didn't get up and get it cleaned off, and the thing virtually suffocated under a sack. And then the second one I fucked up. It was in some cold weather, and I'm kind of a non-intervener. She had it, licked it. It was standing up and sucking. It was pretty cold, and I said, I'm going to give it an hour till it gets dark and see what the condition is. When I went back in an hour, it was still pretty wet and pretty cold, and I decided to bring it in, and I fucked up. I mean, but 99% of the time, I've learned, let them fucking do what they're supposed to do, and you know, that was a bad call, but a lot of times it's the right call, because you bring that calf in, you get it warmed up and dried off, then you take it out there the next morning, and being a heifer, you can set it right by her, and she might take right to it. She might fucking run away. She might not have any idea what the fuck's going on. So I try to just leave things be, and sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah. So there's a whole host of stuff that goes with calving heifers, and that goes back to, you know, an old guy that has the money and the cattle to economically do it probably didn't have he'll have to hire someone or find someone to do it for him. You know, there's a whole range of stuff going into why a herd rebuilding is so hard to accomplish. Plus the cost of, you can sell that heifer for banging money right now. Why would you keep her in calve her?
I think that's the
why
one
would you put
thing
that much more money into her?
that might kick some expansion in gear with this calf crop is that guys, you know, a lot of times you sit there and you say, well, shit, you know, do I want to keep this heifer, but I'm you know, I'm a year away from her even having a calf if she has one fine, and then you're another 7-8 months from selling something. But I think this year maybe there'll be some guys, yes, those heifers will be worth a lot of money, but there might be some guys sell their steer crop and say, fuck, I got this big a pot of cash just from my steers. Maybe I will save a few more.
That's what I was wondering, is when did
maybe I've
become valuable enough that you guys keep the girls, right?
Yeah, some this year. It depends. I mean, if guys are doing well and they're going to pay a bunch of taxes, they're going to hide the cash on the hoof.
Yeah.
They're not going to let Uncle Sam take part of that heifer. They're just going to keep her at home, and she won't be, her calves will be income, but she won't be.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and that's the thing, is you start talking about realistically low $4 corn, high $3 corn, you know, on a cash price, starts changing things here in this part of the world, where where all of a sudden, we can run a pair on 4 acres,
And feed them.
500-hour cow cost, and things start changing, but when you're close to $5 corn and 200 yearlings, or, call it 230, calves, you're still going to plant corn. I mean, it was one of those deals. You're still going to plant corn around here.
We're looking
cheap.
like out here too is this first cutting of hay. I mean, the feeder hay is bringing 200, 210. The good hay is bringing 250. And I mean, when you start first cutting there, you can kind of you can sell, if you can sell a heifer in the fall for $1,200 to $1,400, or put $400 worth of hay into her that first winter if you don't have the other feed sources to try to get her up to breeding time. That starts changing. I mean, that'll affect winter feed separate from hay. Crop residue or whatever will move somewhat what I do.
Yeah, and I think cheap grain, kind of like what Cliff was pointing out. When people are forced out of raising row crops and they need an alternative to make the banker happy, and that alternative is cows, that will help herd expansion. People aren't going to do it because they want to; they're going to do it because they have to.
Yeah, I mean, see it every time I go visit my mom and relatives. I'm like, it was rare to see row crops on a lot of these roads that I drive. They're all row crops. Half of them still have the fences in place, the other half don't. And you're starting to teeter on putting the fences back in and bringing the cows back, but you're not there.
And a lot of these places, the guys who built the fences and knew how to run cows are in the graveyard, and their kids have been farmers their whole life, and they don't know jack shit about cows.
Hey,
like there's been a whole generation.
You don't say Jared shit about cows.
Well, that's because I'm not an old man.
I think that's true. It's still when you do, and I'm not taking anything away from the farmers who farm hard or whatever, but comparatively, even at today's margins, there's a lot of guys. I mean, there's a whole lot of guys my age that grew up, had some cows around. They don't want nothing to. They would go back. They would go get a job probably in town or for the fertilizer company or something before they would transfer over to being in the cow business.
Yep. I wholeheartedly agree. I mean,
so there's none of you bullshitters left, is what you're trying to tell me.
You might be talking to 3 out of the 30.
Yeah.
So I got 3 out of 30 of the bullshitters in America here, huh?
Yeah,
there's not very many.
I mean, honestly, look at Twitter and look how many young cattle guys there are.
Yeah, exactly. Look at the number of farmers on Twitter. Look at the number of ranchers. Just point blank. I'll bet it's 10 to 1 or 12 to 1 farmers versus ranchers.
Sure.
Yeah.
And very few that are like myself that are farmers and ranchers. That's a damn anomaly anymore.
Yeah, well, you also happen to live in a good spot for both.
Times the amount of bullshit to try and do that.
Yeah. No, but seriously,
Well,
there's not many ranchers on.
Yeah.
There was a tweet, Cody McDaniel, about, you guys, the heifers aren't that hard. And I saw Cody's tweet. And believe me, calving heifers, I will agree with Cody, and a lot of the world makes it way, way harder than it should be. I mean, a lot of people, I've had guys tell me, well, if I don't have a calf that weighs 95 pounds when it hits the ground, I might as well not even own it because it won't amount to nothing. Well, I don't know. I haven't found a market for 95-pound newborn dead fucking cows. So I
you feed them to wolves and coyotes.
Yeah, but I mean, you can make it a lot easier on yourself. But the problem is when you're talking about expansion of the numbers we are, it's not like a guy like me who's, say I go up 10% or 15% in a year. You're talking about these big ranches, taking on having a whole set of 400 heifers in a year or 600 heifers in a year, and then they try to decide, are they going to synchronize breed them, and then they got to have a lot of labor in there, and time it with what they think the weather is or whatever. So I mean, I agree that calving heifers, a lot of people make it harder than it needs to be, but I wouldn't say, but I think that's something in the industry. People are all growth, and don't work a lot on their reproductive, the things that really pay off in the end.
Yeah. I mean, basically, look at this way: the factor. By shuttered, I mean they've been ground up into hamburger. So now you've got to provide. You know what it takes to open a factory. You've got to have like.
Kramer, are you talking about the pink
margins.
Slime specialists?
Well, the pink slime caused a lot of this problem too, because it kicked the
Jack,
the lean market. I mean, so they went and grabbed hamburger.
Let's call it what it is. It's leanly fine textured beef. It's not pink slime. It's leanly fine textured beef. It is
which America loves because it's cheap.
Yep.
It provided a lot of protein to a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty brilliant to spin out in the centrifuge the meat out of the fat from the trimmings from fed cattle and make hamburgers.
Look, I'm not making any hard statements here. I'm making jokes.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing is, I'll still catch myself calling it pink slime, but it's not. It's not.
All right. So, what is going to happen to the beef market at the point that it either? I mean, I guess my question is: does it crack because of price, or does it crack because of greed?
It ain't cracking.
Neither.
Yeah.
It's just going to go up, huh, Jared?
We have a there's somewhat, and I'm usually the pessimist sometimes, especially when it comes to cattle markets, but there is somewhat of a built-in bottom in this deal, in the fact that we'll just grind them all. We'll grind all the fed son of bitches. We'll just grind them all and make hamburger for them all, because people talk about this United States of America shutting down because of energy crisis. You can like it, not like it, whatever, but you close every hamburger joint across the country for a week, and this country would go berserk. I mean, we live on it now.
I mean, with that. You can do many things, but don't take away their fries.
I mean, I think that's a reality of what, and then you see now, as I've watched through the spring and summer here, and you talk about expansion in this part of the country, everybody brings in, a lot of guys, they get to whatever their cutoff date is, April 30th, and any cow that hasn't calved, they bring them in, and they're May and June calvers. Well, a lot of times those things.
Hold on a second. Stop for a second. Explain for idiots. Me. I have an idea of what you just said, but slow it down and
so
we're going to break the process up for people who might be watching who don't know what you just said.
Okay. So this cow is pregnant, but they wanted, an 80-day, 60-day calving season for management purposes. So anybody who hasn't calved outside, say, April 30th, they bring those few cows to town. Well, in years past, there was guys, and I've done it sometimes to, so if I had grass, supplement, put them into a deal, let them calve in the summer, and then put them in a fall calving deal. But this year, 90% of those are still going to get their heads cut off, no matter how close up bred they are, no matter how young they are. The butcher buyers are, they're paying $1, right at $1 plus a pound. So that's the direction they're going. And half of the cow-calf pairs, at least half of the cow-calf pairs that have came in since middle of April, they're splitting them up. The calf is worth $500 to $600 depending on its size. You know, you got a few guys wanting to buy calves to
Are you
calf
talking
rope, and you
Beal is in again, or are you talking these are going to be grown?
No, they're gonna. I mean, the factory, the mama part of that factory is going
Going to the factory.
Going to get her head cut off, and so, you know, the calves are just the total value, because somebody says, well, I don't want to spend $2,400 for a pair, but they can split that pair up at the auction and get $2,400 for it by splitting it, because the butcher guy wants the cow and some guy with some grass wants that light little calf, and
you have one less animal that's going to have a calf next year.
That's one less female of breeding age that's around for the next round. I sold a couple of cows this spring that I really hated to part with, but you know, they should have been. They had plenty of flesh last year. We had good grass. They should have been a little. They were just somewhat outside the window, and you know, even being young, I was like, you know, you got it
outside the window of size. Is it that they didn't put enough?
Outside the window of where I wanted calves on the ground, and so I said, you know, you're late for whatever reason. You're late. And I had one group of cows that I hadn't even got preg checked last fall, and I had a couple cows in there that didn't, you know, and they returned good money, but you know, I didn't want to keep them because I feel like they had every chance. You know, there's a fertility issue or other problem there. That's not the kind of cow I want. I want the one that's like an inner city, you know, just a welfare mama that just produce.
Hey, you know,
I love this show.
Look at it this way, Jack. Until they pay enough to not kill the mama with the baby inside, and make you willing to take the risk of buying her and raising that baby. Because right now they don't care if she's going to have a calf. She's worth more to grind up her hamburger to feed to the people in the city.
Right. Mm-hmm. No. I get the ugliness of what you're saying, but I get it. So yeah, I mean, look, right now it's $5.99. Where is your guys' ego point? Right, the cheapest hamburger. The cheapest steak I can buy. Cheapest piece of meat. $5.99.
How about the guys who raise the cows get a bigger chunk of that $5.99? Because we get about probably $1.50 or $2 maybe.
So when are you guys going to renegotiate your end of the deal enough that you want to grow? You want to raise mama in the next
whenever
round?
You start buying the beef for me.
Get some wine. So go ahead and argue without me. I'll be right back.
It all goes back into once it leaves the kill plant. You know, that's where the majority of the margin is, whether it be with the kill plant and the contract afterwards, or the contract after it leaves the kill plant is where most of that margin is.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna give back pressure. I can already kind of feel this. It hasn't really been said, but I can already kind of feel it coming from the packing side of it. Well, your guys' this corn keeps going down. Your guys' costs going down. You know, we need to back. They're looking at it the other way. Not that. Well, you need a bigger piece of this margin. You guys are too. I mean,
you bunch of fat rat bastards.
But you know what? I say screw those people. I say now that we got you don't take your foot off of their neck when you're standing on it.
Nope.
You just push down harder. That's my thought.
Those guys are they're in the business of, well, they're selling, they're in business too, and believe me, they've seen the good and they've seen the bad, and they'll find a way to get it done. I mean, that's why back in December we kind of kept hitting a ceiling there that we didn't seem to be able to break. We kind of ticked against it and bounced back, and I'm like, maybe that's the end of it. They found a way. The demand has a funny way of doing, finding ways. But Jack, back to your $5.99 hamburger, that's what I tell people all the time. You can complain about $5.99 hamburger, but it makes that if you can find those good steaks at $10.99, to me, you're still getting a hell of a bargain.
Yeah, but Jack likes to talk about how he doesn't want to pay it, but that if he has a legitimate offer to buy on the hoof, it's too much of a pain in the ass. So he's still willing to pay the convenience fee of the $5.99.
Yeah,
Because that's what it is. That's the fee you're paying the packer, the retailer, to pack that shit up and give it to you.
Yep. Exactly. For all intents and purposes, let's call it $1.46 a pound live is what they're going for.
Yep.
And and you want to buck up the
We need
2
Jenny
grand.
on the show, guys, because I'd like to know how much is her dad, and I'm just going to be mean here, but in friendly terms, how much of her dad is the margin between Jared?
He probably has to.
So-
I don't think he's a markup. I mean, I think I'm talking about big retails like your supermarket, grocery.
I mean,
the slaughterhouse, the guy who slaughtered the butcher.
Yeah, it's typically about 35 to 40% once it hits the kill floor to once it hits the cooler.
Yep.
And how they split that up, I do not know. But they're
The $2 feeders, he tacks on about another $1.
yeah, roughly. Well, not on feeders, but on fats. I mean,
He's going to get all wound up and come join us in a second. I ought to send her a link.
yeah, get her on here.
Why don't we get an expert from this side of the conversation?
Hey, here's the deal. It's not that those people aren't evil as much as the consumers who gripe about not having to pay more.
The consumers are evil. The ones who are actually paying your fat ass, right? They're the evil ones.
Consumers. They're the ones who are bitching about it being high. I say you just strap in. I hope it goes double what it is. Then you can complain about it.
I still say, and beef has made some big jumps, but your total food dollar percentage
small.
of disposable income, and you take that across a worldwide thing. We haven't seen, and you know what? You know why I'd like to see it more than anything, not just from a price standpoint, that maybe there'll be some wake up of some things that, you know what? Maybe part of the reason is because there's all this land, even some private land, that guy got kicked off of grazing because there's some goddamn noxious weed that became an endangered species, and he can't use it the way he needs to use it anymore, if at all. And maybe the consumer will kind of see some of those political and regulatory things that have, in my opinion, a lot of this. I mean, it started with, and I'm not against it. I don't want to jump all the Midwest corn guys.
You can't smoke in public.
Well, turtle hater.
You jump the look where we started on this whole thing with the beef. In all honesty, it started with, the drought was a big part, but the ethanol mandate.
Yeah, that was some stupidity there. The last thing in the world we need to do is pay Jared to grow corn.
Hey, then pay me to grow beef. I'll quit growing corn. I got you.
It's like all these farmers are watching this show and they're like, why the hell do these people talk to Jack? All he does is try to offend either side or both.
Try is a key word.
It did. It
Try.
Changed a lot of things, and that's a big part out here. Is I would say 20 years from now, there's going to be virtually no summer grazing of cattle on anything but private land. The state, they keep buying up some land, the game department and such, and then closing it off to grazing. The feds keep cutting the deals in the forest because of this rule or that rule, and I'm not a big cheerleader for the public lands necessarily. I'm just saying that the things you need to do the project, there's getting to be less and less available pieces.
I say if people want to save the swamp rat, let them eat the fucking swamp rat, because guess
what? All right,
sooner or later you'll get tired of swamp rat and you'll say, go ahead, raise some beef on that shit.
All right, Jared. Do you have any other happy lines for our audience?
No. How many people do we have? I don't have that screen. Do we have 5?
Yeah, we're running about 5 right now.
Yeah, I know. That's awesome.
I wasn't even sure I'd could remember how to run everything here. It's been so
Hey,
long.
it's working. So we're gonna have to start doing this again. We know where the channel is.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Jack. All jokes aside.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
glad you
happy
lived this
birthday,
long.
Jack.
Thanks, guys. Hey, Jenny says she might drop in. So let's just give this another minute or two. And, hey, here she is.
Hello.
We have a lady among us. Welcome.
Hey, I gotta bounce. See you guys.
Bye, Jared. Jenny,
Yes.
can you tell us about what the markup is on beef from the butcher's point of view? So you buy your dad buys the cattle from the equivalent of Jared or one of the guys. What the next leg out?
Well, he's a little different because we are a custom exempt, so all the beef that we butcher doesn't go into the retail market. It goes to an end user, whoever's cattle it is. So for people that are buying beef that my dad's butchering, like you would have to go directly to the farmer or rancher and buy it from him on the hoof and then process it through us. That's how we can get it.
So in that context, let's just say Cliff here is selling me then. Is that 200 feeder? Is that right? What are you charging me over there?
Oh, if you're obliged to pay 200 for a fat cattle, I'm pretty sure I could scrape up.
Was it 143 earlier? Was it 143 earlier?
Yeah, I can do 190 and I'm closer, Jack.
I got a bidding contest going here. Do I hear 180?
Hell, I'm 150. 150.
All right, so I get raped by my friends here, and I pay 150. Sorry, bad terms. I overpay at 150 for the cattle, and they say call your dad. Is that how it goes?
Well, yeah, he would come out and my dad does a mobile slaughter, so we actually don't have a kill floor. He has like a refrigerated truck that he takes out, and that's a very rare thing for the meat industry. There's only a few people.
I've heard about it with buffalo. I haven't heard about it with beef. I heard buffalo.
Yeah, so he's kind of a rarity, but basically he would go out there, and when the animal comes to us, it would be tagged with your name, and it would be basically yours, even though you never owned it.
Right.
And then he just charges a per pound cut and wrap fee on it, and a kill charge.
Okay.
That is paid by the customer. He charges, I think it's $100 for a beef.
Okay.
And that's just for the slaughter fee. And then the processing is like a cut and wrap. I think it's like 90 cents or something a pound.
All right.
Well, on the hanging weight, on a hot carcass weight.
Okay, define that for those of us who don't know.
A hot carcass weight is when he butchers the animal and either halves it or quarters it, and then we hang it on the rail right when it comes in. So actually, carcasses will shrink on beef. When they come in, they will shrink as they age.
Okay.
So what you're looking at, Jack, is that that carcass. Say that carcass is 800 pounds, and you're paying the $100 kill fee, but then you're paying your cut and wrap on that 800-pound carcass.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's 90 cents, that'd be $720, right? But the thing is, you're not going to get 800 pounds of meat out of that 800-pound carcass. You're going to be
probably about 200.
No, it depends on how you have it cut.
Right.
If you get mostly boneless cuts, then it's going to be around 50%.
Out of 800?
Percent, yeah.
50%.
Oh, 50%. But that's 400 pounds.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Typically on ours, the way we do it, and we still get roasts, bone-in roasts, whatever, but on our own stuff here on the place, we'll run closer up on that 60-pound level, but you're going to be if I tell people all the time, that's a big thing that first timers don't understand. Well, how come, I
About
paid
800
for
pounds
800 pounds of carcass,
300
and
pounds of
I came
boxes.
in and got these boxes of meat, and I waited on the way home, and it's an important thing for people to understand. I mean,
I actually have done the math on it before. I have a blog post on our locker site so that people could go, because that is a very common thing. People are like, well, I paid for 775 pounds and I only got 9, 8, 6 boxes. And it's like, no, you are getting rid of bone and fat and anything that isn't edible.
Yeah,
So what happens to the bone?
It goes to the rendering plant.
Yep.
I mean,
What do they
bone meal.
pay? I get that we don't get the credit for it. You guys do. What does it pay to have a rendering plant take it?
You actually, they charge you to come get it.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep. They don't pay you.
Depends upon, I mean, most of the big rendering plants are within a few miles of the big slaughter plants.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
there was a time, Jack. I mean, there was a time that
they would
just like even a dead animal here on the ranch, there was a time I could call an outfit and they would come get that dead animal and pay me some money for it. Then we went for a while where it was an even Steven deal. They didn't pay me, I didn't pay them. Now I think it's $185
for you to have a dead cow. So like when you had that horrible day and there was the cow in the final picture, and I felt for you. I grew up on a farm. I know how a day can go bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I was 9 when I moved off, but I understand the context. 10 actually. Well, it was important. We were moving on my 10th birthday, and my present got stuck inside the moving van, and it broke down. And so they had to break into the moving van that was stuck alongside a road to get me my present because that van wasn't moving for like a week. The things that happen when you live in the country, right? And you're moving in the 70s. So anyway, growing up on a farm, the things that can go bad quickly, I saw that and I was just like, ugh. And then that costs you money. Not only are you out,
and it didn't cost. On the home place here, I bury here. But if I wanted to, if I didn't want to do the burying or whatever here, I would have been $185 to have somebody come pick that thing up. Yeah.
If you were semi-retail, you would have had to pay to have it rendered away.
Yeah, you've got, that's one thing here. You're still on your own private property. You've got some pretty good rights as far as things you can do, to compost or get rid of that animal. I mean, there's still guys in the feedlot. They'll push that dead animal into the manure pile that they're making compost out of, and the heat and microbes from that manure pile will break that thing down into nothing in short time.
So you had the how was that calf doing? The one that was trying to steal the milk?
Yeah, I mean, he was old enough. He'll live. I mean, his contemporaries will gradually pass him up. In fact, I had him in with some cows I was getting rid of and was gonna just go ahead and send him to town because he didn't have a mother and because they're worth pretty good money. And he crawled out of a spot overnight, and so when the next morning when load up time came, he wasn't around. So he's living out in the pasture. He'll end up to be 75% weight of his contemporaries when fall comes around. I mean, he'll be all right, but
now he's sniffed already, right?
Yeah, I mean he's just gonna have to, he'll steal a little here and there, and they get very old. They can eat grass and keep themselves alive. They're not going to grow same as their brother that's getting milk and grass.
Sure. Okay. I want to thank you guys for helping me reclaim BTFDtv with the boys again and girls. bringing the farm and the ranch back to where we were. This is my birthday, everybody. I want to thank you for joining us. This has been the reinvasion and retaking of the fallow field, I guess, episode. So we'll be back again. We'll try to cause some mayhem. We'll try to get in some trouble. We'll try to find some new farmers to show up. I tried to get Cody to come on and talk back to these guys who said it's hard, but he was unable to join us. So maybe on another episode we'll get Cody to talk some smack. On that note, everyone, thank you for joining us. This is BTFDtv signing off. Don't go anyone who's on air with me for a second.